I missed the Ryder Cup in 2016
Mm-hmm.
and a couple other President's Cup events. So it's so nice to be back. I love being around the guys, and what a great venue we have. And, even the last couple of days of practice rounds and having dinner with the guys, I realized how much more I missed it. So I'm not taking it for granted that I'm on this team and excited to represent USA.
And you're coming into this week on some very good form. Can you tell me about how your game is and maybe how it suits that golf course out there?
Yeah, I've been playing well. Finished off the year nicely the last couple of events, and golf's such an individual game. So you come to a new golf course like this, and you have to learn the course. Me and my caddy Paul, but I'm with my partner this week. There's some strategy. There's talks between us, so it's just a little more to it these last couple of days. And so, the golf course is good. It's very difficult, and it's going to be a good test for us.
Great. Thank you very much, Webb. We're going to open up to the floor. If you can place your hands up, and we'll get a mic around to you. So we'll go to Ewan first, please. Just number one over here.
Hi, Webb. You know better than most how challenging hitting the opening tee shot of a Ryder Cup is. Can you tell us, first of all, your memories of that day at Glen Eagles? And if you were given the opportunity again, would you relish a chance to hit the first one again?
Are you referring to the pop-up? Yes. Okay. So the backstory, why it's even funnier to me, it was funny to everybody, but that was the shot that I had in my bag all year. That was like the fifth time I had done it. I lose my concentration a little bit, and I teed up a little too high, and I'd done it a few other times that year. Usually it goes straight. That one went straight. I hit the fairway. But yeah, we're more nervous here than any other tournament, and it's not the fans. It's a good thing. You want to play well for your teammates, for your captain, for the assistant captains, and your partner, and so it's a good kind of pressure. But everybody that made both teams can deal with pressure. But yeah, the first tee, that environment is fun and a little more, probably a little more nervous there than the second hole or third hole, and that's why you might see me teeing off on the evens.
Were the crowds kind to you?
What's that?
Were the crowds kind to you? What was your walk to that, or the short walk to that ball? What was it like?
The funniest / most embarrassing part of it was the camera crews, and probably a lot of you guys had gone ahead where we normally drive it, so everybody had to come back. So the camera crew and everybody's coming back. I can still reach the green, which is nice, but I will say Justin Rose might not admit it, but he had a 3-wood out, and I look over and he switched to driver because the driver's so much bigger. So maybe my shot affected him. I don't know.
I'm going to stay with Mike 1 and Karen in front.
Did you watch in 2016?
I did. I don't know if I missed a shot. I remember being at home with my wife. The only time I might have missed a shot, maybe one of my kids got in the way of the TV, but we watched everything. And I felt nervous watching golf on TV for the first time ever. I wanted it so bad for the U.S. And, I loved it. The Patrick Reed-Rory match is where it was one of those moments I'll never forget as a follower of sports. Because what we were witnessing, you guys watch enough golf, that never happens. Not never. It rarely ever happens. I think of Tiger, Ernie in South Africa in their playoff, where you're just having magic moment after magic moment. And I called my caddy, Paul, and I just said, I know you're watching this, but, it's hard to explain how good it was. I watched it.
I'm going to go to Mike.
Adrenaline get rising as you watched it, along with theirs?
Yeah, when Rory made his putt on 8 and Patrick made his putt, I didn't even think about it, but I found myself off the couch. I was in a very comfortable position on the couch. I'm off the couch right in front of the TV, and my wife is too. And so we thought it was appropriate. I put on my Twitter account a rendition of them two. So I was Patrick Reed, she was Rory. We did it in our backyard, which was pretty fun.
We're going to go to Mike 3, just over here on the left.
Webb, you said your partner this week. Who's that?
It's one of the 12 on our team.
Your thoughts on the golf course, what you're seeing out there in terms of who it favors, just kind of the view of how narrow it is and how that may impact the matches?
Yeah, I think, my 2 Ryder Cups, Medina and Glen Eagles, were similar in the sense there was plenty of birdies to be made. This week, not so much. And if you miss the fairways here, it's super penal. I'm sure guys have talked about it, but the rough is mowed back into us. So if a ball's in the rough, you're probably not getting it to the green, which might not change strategy per se off the tee, but it does change your mental approach, thinking I'm going to win. There's going to be plenty of holes won in alternate shot with pars. And I even venture to say I think there's going to be holes won in foursomes or four balls with pars. I really do. And you got, 18. There's a bunch of holes out there where you got to hit not only a great tee ball, but you got to hit a great second shot. So it is one of the hardest Ryder Cup course that I've seen in a while. And so it's just massive premium on fairway.
Okay, we're going to come to Mike, one at the top.
Hey, Webb, just for the record, do you remember how long that 3-wood pop-up went? When did you get?
My guess is about 205.
So just got over the 200
Yeah.
level. What do you recall as being a rookie? There's 5 of them on the European side. You guys have 3 of them. What's that dynamic? How difficult is that? And can that be an advantage or a disadvantage for a team?
I think when you have guys like Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson as your teammates, and then you have the Strickers, the Zach Johnsons, Jim Furyk, obviously, those guys help more than anybody. I can help a Bryson DeChambeau a little bit, but those guys who they've seen enough rookies now come on the teams, they know what to say, what not to say. And the main thing I told Bryson is, hey, play Bryson DeChambeau golf. It's gotten you a few big wins this year. You're on the Ryder Cup team and one of the best players in the world. So when it comes to playing golf on Friday morning, it's Bryson DeChambeau golf, and you happen to have somebody there with you as a partner, but he's there to, he's there rooting for you, pulling for you, helping you. So that's, that's all I'd tell them is just do their own thing that's gotten them here.
Any more questions, guys? Please place your hands up. Just in the very back here, number 4.
Oh, Webb, without talking about who partners may be this week, but how do you think Bubba will do in this setting? How's he being treated out there? And we all know what he said about France, and just how do you think his week is going to go?
They've been great to him. I played in the same group as Bubba the last couple of days, and they've been great. Over here he's Bubba, so we've been calling him Bubba. But he got the crowd going on 18. He got him to be really loud. He hit it 340 down there. So he'll be great. I think I've always said the crowds over here are great. They're very respectful. They understand the game, and I know it heightens a little bit in the Ryder Cup. But I plan on hearing things that I might not like, but that's the Ryder Cup. They're going to deal with the same stuff in the United States, so it's all part of it.
If you could just use the mic, please. Thank you.
Is his knowledge of France improved any?
It has. He just gets the terms confused every now and then, but he's well aware. It's been said a few times, castle versus palace. But he's got it down now.
We go to Tim, just over here, number 3.
Webb, the European teams had a good time kind of teasing each other and having a Mickey at each other, whatever the expression is. I'm sorry, I'm a little daft at that. But are you doing the same thing as it relates to Bubba, teasing him a little bit about it, just to bring out a smile instead of turning it into a negative thing?
Absolutely. That's his love language. You know that he loves you if he's giving you a hard time. And so I think Bubba and I have had success in the past because I tend to be more, a lot more serious on the golf course. He tends to be more laid back, joking around, and we kind of mold into, this half Bubba, half Webb type of player. And it's fun. Teddy and Paul, they're good buddies. So, yeah, when you give him a hard time, you just got to know that he's going to get the last line in, kind of like Phil. They're very witty. They always have something to say, but it's relaxing at the same time.
And Doug, we're going to stay with number 3.
Webb, do you think Europe is a strong team? And assuming the answer is yes, why do you think they're strong?
I think they're strong every year in the Ryder Cup, no matter who's on the team or what form they're in. They get excited about this event, as do we. But I think this event's special, and it stands out in the sense that a guy can come in, maybe he's a captain's pick, maybe he's a veteran, having not played well lately. But this tournament just does something different. And I think the way you've been playing, good or bad, I think it's a pretty level playing field. There's so much that goes into not only team chemistry but partner chemistry. I don't know, they have some guys who maybe it's their first Ryder Cup, but there's enough guys. I feel like since I played my first Ryder Cup in 2012, there's more and more assistants and people around the team room than there used to be. And that's nice. It's nice seeing the same faces every year, and they've done a good job of that. So, yeah, they have a great team, obviously, would be my answer. And, you know, they get the Ryder Cup well. And, you know, 2016 was a great example of how we're getting the Ryder Cup.
Okay,
We're getting a lot better.
A couple more questions. We'll start with one here.
Webb, you were 12 when Tiger won in Augusta, his first major. What is it like playing a Ryder Cup with him?
Honestly, the older I'm getting, the more special it is. I realize, you know, he's the greatest player of all time, and you know, when I'm competing with him, I play with him on Sunday at the BMW. I'm not going to go over and ask him advice, but you know, this week, you know, the guy's won 80 times, and it's fun to think not only I can go ask him some stuff, but he wants to help us out. So I was happy to see him get that victory last week, and he's certainly playing with as much confidence as anybody.
Any questions from the second row on the front? Here we go. Justin Thomas.
Who's been your favorite rookie on the team so far?
Probably Justin Thomas, I would say. No reason, just you. Yeah.
Thank you, Justin. We're going to go to number one in the middle.
You're used to showing up at new places with Paul and breaking down a golf course in a few days. How does that dynamic change when you have a captain and assistant captains and other teammates kind of feeding into that? How much of that do you take in?
A little bit. I mean, I certainly don't talk to any of the bombers about kind of what they're thinking, because I feel like my style of play is a lot different. But, you know, we got the John Woods out there who, you know, John's not caddying this event, but he's still got that caddy eye. So whoever's kind of hanging with us that day, they might pipe in and bring up something here or there. But for the most part, I still want to do everything I would normally do with Paul, and bring in who I might play with to see, you know, where would you want it here. And they might say, I don't care how far back I am, I just want it in the fairway, whatever it might be. So once I get my work done, you know, I bring in who I might play with to weigh in a little bit.
We'll go one final question. We'll stick with Mike one.
Well, a lot of comparisons of this course to TPC Sawgrass. Do you see that, and how comfortable do you feel because of that?
Yeah, I mean, the thing that jumps out is that both courses you have to hit it in the fairway. So I feel like what you guys are going to see, the teams that are winning are the teams that are hitting more balls in the fairway and making putts. I mean, not every Ryder Cup you have to hit it in the fairway, but this one you do. So, you know, our strategy, you know, my personal strategy might not be to hit it as far as I can on every hole, but like I said, get it in the fairway. So there's certain gettable holes with 3 par 5s. Depending on the wind, we can reach them all. You know, Sawgrass has 4 reachable par 5s. But it is very much target golf, like TPC.
Well, it looks like you're being subbed out. Thank you very much,
Thank you.
and have a great week.
Come on, Justin.
Cheers, Rob. Appreciate
Thanks, man.
Thanks.
Good seeing you.
You too. Hey, Justin, how are you? I'm Neil. Nice to meet you. How are you? In case there's any questions in French, you just put this in your ear, but just in case. So that's the translation. You don't need to do it now, but in case there's any questions.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Perfect. Justin, thank you very much for joining us. You're a major champion, and you've been to world #1. So where does this achievement, being in a Team USA at a Ryder Cup, rank amongst those?
Well, it's so different, you know, being a team event and everything. But I mean, this is something that I've been looking forward to, something I've wanted to accomplish since I was a little kid. You know, I was very fortunate to go to some Ryder Cups when I was a kid with my dad working for the PGA. So you know, I've seen 3 in person, one of which was in Wales when I played the Junior Ryder Cup. So you know, I've seen it from the other side of the ropes, and I'm very, very happy and excited to be on this side of the ropes.
And you've seen plenty of this golf course over the summer. How is it looking this week in comparison to the other times you've seen it?
It's good. It's very. I mean, it's almost identical in terms of. I mean, the fairways are the same width. The rough is It was very similar in terms of there's the first cut, there's the second cut, which there's maybe 4 or 5 yards of, and then it's the long stuff. The only difference was it was a lot longer at the French, but it was more burnt out. So you could every once in a while get a lie, but it was a lot longer. But now it's probably half the length, but it's a lot thicker, a lot more lush, just given the time of the year, obviously. So a fairway was a premium then, and fairways is still a premium now.
Thank you very much, Justin. We're going to take it to the floor. We'll start with Doug and mic number 3.
Is this your third or fourth Ryder Cup?
Attending?
Yes.
My fourth.
What was the other one? Valhalla,
I went to Oakland
Wales.
Hills.
Oakland
I was like,
Hills.
what was that in like 02? 04?
You were 11?
Yeah.
What is your favorite memory at a Ryder Cup as a teenager?
I mean, the Junior Ryder Cup, when we were able to go play that friendship match at Celtic Manor, we played at Glen Eagles for the Junior Ryder Cup, and then we went over and we played 9 holes on the course that they played the Ryder Cup. That was pretty sick. I mean, all the experiences at Valhalla and the access that I had at the age that I was probably cooler, having access to the team rooms, or, not the actual team room, but a lot of the team functions, maybe the after party kind of thing, and just stuff like that, to where I would have never been able to do that anywhere else other than Louisville, probably, and when my dad was on the board when he was, but playing those 9 holes for that friendship match at Celtic Manor and seeing the players and a lot of guys that are my teammates this week, it's pretty cool.
Thanks, Doug. We're going to go to mic number 1 in the middle.
Justin, do you feel like a rookie this week? And if you've gotten any at all, what would be the most interesting piece of advice that you've gotten?
Yeah, I've tried to ask some questions, but not. I'm trying not to overthink it, if that makes sense. It's still, I think it's so easy to do in not only golf but in match play. It's so easy to overthink the pairing, so easy to overthink the odds and the evens, or what hole do you want to go first. When at the end of the day, it's like, look, if we play better golf than they do, we're probably going to win. If they play better golf than we do, they're probably going to win. It's still golf. You still have to hit in the fairway. You still have to hit on the green. You still got to make the putt and have a lower score than the other team on the hole. So I'm just trying to take that information in terms of it's still golf. I just need to go out and I need to control what I can control, and everything else is out of my hands.
Okay, we're going to go to mic number 4 with Steve.
Could you play 5 matches, and what is the status of your wrist?
Could I play 5 matches? I'd play 6 if I could. No, the wrist, it's fine. Like I said last week, it looks worse than it is. It's the white tape on top of the KT tape is just more, it's prevention. It's something to where it's not going to get any worse, and it's not, I could easily play without it, but my team feels that it's best if I play with it, because it's not, it's not going to get worse with how it is. So it's fine. It didn't hurt last week, which was great. It has not influenced any of my shots that I've had, which is most important. But at the end of the day, if Cap needs me to go 5, I'll go 5. If he needs me to go 2 or 3, I'll go 2 or 3. Whatever it is, I'm gonna be ready to go.
And Ewan in number 1.
Justin, this golf course, and you obviously know it better than a lot of your teammates, does it favour the European team the way it is and the way it's set up, or is that not really a valid statement?
I think that's what's great about this golf course, and I was in here when, sorry, I don't know who asked about the comparison of Sawgrass in here, but there's a reason why a place like Sawgrass has had so many different winners, because it doesn't favor somebody. It just favors whoever's playing better, and I think that this course is the exact same way. It doesn't necessarily favor, Tiger Woods over me. If it was a stroke play, then it just whichever one of us is playing better, then that it favors that person. Like Webb kind of said, if a lot of Ryder Cups, you just kind of been able to just bomb it and drive it, at least in America for sure, and you can hit it up there, and even if you're in the rough, you can get it on the green. But this course takes driver out of your hands for everybody. It's not like, you can't go up on number 1 and hit drive. I guess you could hit driver. Or you can't go on number 5. I think it is at Dog Lake Right. I mean, you can't hit driver there. It's just everyone's hitting it to the same spot. and then everyone's hitting a short iron on the green, and then whoever hits it close and makes the putt wins the hole. So I think that's just what this course is. It doesn't favor one team or the other. It just favors whoever's playing the best.
Okay, number 3 over here.
Justin, I heard somewhere that you and Jordan are good friends. If you two were paired together this week, how would you see your games matching together in a team setting?
Yeah, it'd be fun, and I think that's what when talking to Jim as much as I have about pairings is I feel like we all know each other's games so well on this team, and we all get along so well that it's hard to really go wrong with many options. But that would be something it'd be cool, it'd be fun. It'd be something to where, like with Ricky, for me, at the President's Cup, we know each other's games well enough that you almost have another caddy if you need it. You know, it's like, hey, say he hits first and he hits 7-iron and it's just a little short, he can look at me and say, it's a perfect 7-iron. He knows that. And that may be something that doesn't seem like a big deal to others, but it's a pretty big deal at the, in the grand scheme of things. So I think it's, it could be something that could be fun, but you just, kind of wait and see, I guess.
Okay, number 1 here in the middle.
Yes, as a rookie, which seems amazing to me, but anyway, and after in Riviera, you and Roy were saying after you finished your round with Tiger there, and I was listening to this, how much you thought that he lost to the field. Now look at the galleries and also the size of all the stands. This is your first Ryder Cup. How do you think that's going to play for you?
Well, not to be rude, but he said that. I was there, obviously, but he was the one that definitely said that it feels like it adds strokes. I don't know how he's done that his whole career. I think is more so what I said. I understand exactly what you're saying. It is unbelievable playing with Tiger, and this is far and away any crowd of a normal PGA Tour event with Tiger. So it will be great, but it'll be fun. It'll be that fun, nervous. It'll be that adrenaline nervous. That it's kind of like at Phoenix. There's so many people and there's so much noise that it all cancels out. When you have 1,000 people and 5-10 people make noise, you can hear it. When you have 5 to 10,000 people on a hole and that percentage of people make noise, it's just kind of a buzz. Does that make sense? So, but no, it will be new to me. Like you said, I am a rookie, and it's going to be something that I'm going to need to have really, really good control of my emotions this week because I am an emotional player, and I can sometimes get a little up and down. So I need to do as much as I can to try to keep it even keel and just feed off of the energy as much as possible.
Okay, going to have 2 or 3 more. 4 at the back there, please.
How much shame is there having your dad be a sports writer?
Pardon me?
Your father being a sports writer, is there a lot of shame in that?
My dad being a sports writer? Am I missing something? What? Yeah. I'll tell you later. Okay, yeah, I'm lost. I'm sorry.
Okay, we'll go to number 1, Karen again.
How well did you know Tony going in, and just how would you describe his personality? You guys aren't so different in age, but it's like you're in different places in your lives, it seems.
Yeah, Tony's great. Tony and I went through the Webb.com. We graduated at the same year, so we played a handful of times that year. And he's, in terms of a person, he's one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. I actually heard someone say in the physio room a couple weeks ago that, and this, Webb is viewed as one of the nicest guys on tour, that he said that, I forget who said it, they said that Tony makes Webb look like an a-hole because he's that nice. So it's, he's one of those guys, and he's and Bubba, whatever. But he's someone that pairs so well with anybody just because he's easy to get along with, and who wouldn't want to play with him? His game is so fiery. It's got a lot of, it just has a lot of versatility. I think that's something, when I played with him for the first couple times on tour, I was very surprised. There's a handful of guys out here, at least that I think you really kind of stop and watch every shot they hit because it's really impressive. You know, there's a lot of guys that get it around that are top, 15, 30 players in the world, but it may not look as good. But Tony is someone that's, it goes so high and so far. He can work it both ways. He's got great hands around the greens, and he putts it really well. It's, it's no coincidence that he was what he was going into Atlanta without a win. He's so consistent and such a great player. So he's definitely a great person to have on your team.
Okay, we're going to have 2 more questions. Tim and
JT,
3.
have you done anything to get ready for that first tee shot by talking to teammates that have experienced it before? And also, Europeans are leaving the impression they're pretty loose thus far. Or can that be said of the U.S. side as well?
It sounds, from the stories I've heard in the past, there's nothing I can do to get ready for their first tee shot. I've heard multiple stories of guys going to the first tee saying they have odds and stepping up there and saying, I can't pull the trigger, you need to take it. So if I do end up being odds with whoever my partner is, I hope that I don't have that problem. But again, that's a good kind of nervousness. It's a good kind of jitters to have. So it's going to be a cool experience. The President's Cup was the President's Cup, and it's like we have 3 massive buildings around us on the first tee this week. So I'm very excited, and like I said, I'm happy to be watching this opening tee shot, whether I'm hitting it or my partner's hitting it from the first tee, is instead of a couch somewhere and watching it on TV. It definitely is going to beat that. But in terms of the vibe of our team, I think we have a very laid-back, very relaxed team. Everyone's doing a great job, I think, of conserving their energy in these practice days, but also getting the work done they need to. Because this has been a long year, at the end of a long year, and it is a long week in terms of the functions and everything we have to do. So everyone's doing as well as they can to stay relaxed but get their work done so that we're ready come Friday.
Okay, we're going to finish on number 2 over on the right here.
Justin, I'm curious, when you first started to get to know Tiger as like a friend, what was that like to be like, oh my God, I'm texting with Tiger Woods? Like, could you kind of describe what that evolution of that?
Yeah, I still sometimes have to. I still kind of say that to myself sometimes. It is bizarre. Just for me, he's the reason why I love golf so much. He's the person that I was when I was 7 and 8, 9 years old, putting by myself on the putting green. In my head, I was making this putt to beat him. So it's, again, like a lot of guys on our team, I'm happy to have him on my team as opposed to playing against him, in stroke play events. But it's cool. I would say it was a couple years ago, probably my first Masters. I reached out to him and just talked to him about Augusta. He wasn't playing, so he was going to be helpful. It's not like it was this year or whenever he plays. His mouth kind of closes a little bit, or how much information he gives out as not quite as much. So I tried to take advantage of that time when he was hurt as much as I possibly could. So I think that, and during that process, I wanted to be there for him as a friend or as somebody, because it can be the life he lives is so different than everybody else. If he gets bored, he can't go out in public and do something without getting harassed. So myself, Ricky, other guys in Jupiter, we wanted to hang out with him. We wanted to do whatever he wanted to do. And so to be able to have that friendship relationship with him is cool. But, yeah, like I said, I'm happy to have him on my team.
Justin, thank you very much, and have a great week.
Thanks. Cheers.
Bubba, thank you for joining us. You played a big part behind the scenes in 2016 with a Team USA victory. How special is it to be back in that team room as a player?
It's very special. As a golfer, you want to make the team events, and then when you realize how special the team events are, you want to be there no matter what. And so for me to be there for the guys, for the people that I appreciate, look up to, in 16, it was a dream for me to be able to help take care of 12 guys, plus the 4 assistants and captains So it was a dream come true. It was an honor and a privilege. But obviously, if you're going to ask anybody, you'd rather be playing than working. And so I'm glad to be back, and what a thrill and an honor to be part of it again. And knowing the trust that I got from 16, they can still bump ideas and ask me questions, even though I am a player this time instead.
You enjoy that first-tier atmosphere more than most. Almost 7,000 people are going to be out there Friday morning. How much are you looking forward to that?
I'm looking forward to it. It's amazing. I've been told that I can't get the crowd to rev up, though, because it's an iron off the tee. It's a lot easier when it's a driver off the tee. But this whole, this is a different golf course, different setup. And so this is going to be one that you're not going to, I don't want to get revved up trying to hit a bullet off the tee and fat it, 20 yards down the fairway. So I don't want to do that. So they told me I can't do it this time.
Thank you very much, Bubba. We're going to go to the floor. We'll start with Tim on the left with mic number 3. Just away.
Hey, Bubba, is the glove because you got some sort of sinus infection going, or you don't want to? Never saw what we were talking about.
Every time we have a team event, there's people that you got to say so many words, or you got to do something, we'll say dumb. So I said I got to wear my glove the whole interviews. So I'm doing it. Yeah, I thought this might be dirty, so if I hold it, I could be like that. There's no bet. It's just got to have something to do. Golf gets boring after a while, so like Justin said, a long year. We're all pretty tired, as you can tell. My voice, I'm exhausted. A lot of us were kind of getting sick. Gosh, I almost say not quite half the field last week had something, and then traveling all the way over here, we're all battling something. Yep.
Okay, we're going to go to Karen up the front here, and mic number 1.
Bubba, what did you learn while serving as an assistant captain that could maybe help you as a player?
It's funny. I'm going to answer it differently at first, but I learned that the team was a lot better without me as a player. I've never won one, but as a vice captain, we won, so I'm taking it that I helped win. As a player, you see what the captain needs. When you're sitting in with 5 guys trying to pick a lineup, who are you going to pair? Why are you going to pair them together? All these thoughts, and when I show up to an event and say I only want to play with one guy, right? That limits the captain, because if you only practice with one guy with a certain ball or a certain attitude or certain personality, it limits you. Now, if you're like me, with a few meds in you right now, trying to get healthy, it doesn't help the captain, right? Because if I say I don't have any energy, now that guy that I've been practicing with is like, well, now who am I going to get paired with? So you're limiting, you're hurting the captain or the team that way. And so that's what I see the difference is that, you got to give them a couple options that some guys you really like to play with or some guys you really don't want to play with. Just because of personality types or whatever it is, whatever that reason is.
Okay, we're going to go to mic 2 in the middle here with you.
Bubba, how has your week in France been as a cultural experience, and how do you reflect on your first time when you were here?
Gosh, I love it. This is a beautiful place. The first time I was ever here, my wife played professional basketball in south of France. Love it. I've been here a few times because of Richard Mille, the watch company that I represent. I've been here a few times with him and his fascination with cars and his car collection. And so being here with the watch company and being around here, it's a beautiful place. It's high fashion. It's Fashion Week. So I don't look like I dress. I wear T-shirts all the time, but I have some high fashion in my closet. I just don't ever bust it out.
But there were some pretty highly publicised comments at the time. How do you reflect on that? Some of the things that were said then and
it was like was it 11? I don't know when I was here. It was like 10 or 11. Was it 11? 11. We'll say 11. I don't know. It was sad because none of it was true. Me and my team, my manager, my wife, my caddy, and my trainer therapist at the time, we went on Segway tour. It was actually funny. Last night we went and ate this little restaurant in the Palace grounds. And I remember falling off my Segway on the Segway tour. We went on a bike tour and a Segway tour. And I remember falling off my Segway right there. And I told the team, I said, there's where I fell off the Segway and kind of made a fool of myself. So, no, it was sad that people wrote or took my comments or whatever I did, because I don't really remember it so long ago. But it was sad that they did that, because I loved it. I've always loved it. I love traveling. I mean, that's why I've played around the world. It's because I love it. I love seeing different cultures. And so, obviously, Richard Mille respects me enough to sign me to wear his watches. So, you know, he has a lot of love for me, and he understands that sometimes media takes it a different way than it meant to be. So it was sad, but I learned from it. It made me mature as a person and understand that I got to be more mature and more careful how I word things. Hopefully I worded all that right.
Going to go to number 1 over here on the right.
Hi, Bubba. Just a quick question. Please excuse my ignorance, but I didn't quite understand the significance of the glove. Are you wearing it as a forfeit? Is that
forfeit?
Or have I, yeah. Have
No,
I misunderstood?
Just being done with the team. It's like there's certain guys, I'm not going to say who, had to say certain words in their interviews, and who knows if they've said them. I don't know. I was the glove guy, so I don't know.
We're going to go to number 4. Number 4 down the back.
Hi, Bubba. As I'm sure you know, it's 25 years since the US won the Ryder Cup here in Europe. What does that say about the difficulty, the challenge of winning away from home, and what would it mean to you guys to finally break that drought?
Well, obviously, as we've seen our sports in the United States, you know, the home team in basketball or the home team in baseball or football, always, it seems like they have the advantage, right? Because their crowd, their facilities, all their stuff, right? And Europe has an event here every year. So there's always an advantage of that, just being at home, or maybe not quite home, but it is home soil, I guess you'd say. So yeah, for us to win it, any time to win it is a dream come true, and to win it, like you said, after 25 years, yeah, what a thrill. For me, I've never won one as a player, so it'd be a thrill of a lifetime. Here, there, doesn't matter where it is. It would just be a thrill of a lifetime for that little trophy. That's all we're playing for. We're not playing for money or anything. We're playing for pride. And so, and then obviously Phil, Tiger, these guys, they haven't won over here, I don't think, ever. So it'd be a dream to be a part of that. I mean, they're legendary careers, to be there with them and, you know, be a part of that. I'm pretty sure Tiger and Phil would start crying if they did win. And I'll probably cry too. So.
We're going to go to mic 1 on the right here.
Bubba, what are you expecting from the home crowd this week? And is that something you've spoken about as a group, how to cope with the increased noise pressure of being away for a Ryder Cup?
You know, we haven't really spoke much about the crowd. The pressure is all we really talked about. This is bigger than any event we've played, really, because of the pride. This is all about pride for us. This is not about getting a bigger check or anything like that. This is just about pride. And, you know, the crowd over here has always been amazing. They understand tough shots. They understand a 30-footer sometimes from 200 yards is a great shot. And so they've been appreciative of us every time I've ever played in an event over here, and especially in a team event like this. So I don't expect any different. They pull for their people. They pull for their team. But they applaud us and cheer us and appreciate great golf shots because they understand the game so well.
Okay, we're going to go 3 and then 1. 3 first.
You can hear in your voice that you're not very well.
Yeah, thank you.
Has it actually spread through the American locker room? And do you know if it's affected the European guys that were in the States last week?
It was just there was a few guys that aren't over here and guys that are over here. You know, it kind of started through the locker room last week. There's only 30 guys, but so it just I happen to get it. I got a weak immune system, so.
Are there more members of the team here that are struggling?
I could care less about them. I'm trying to get me healthy.
Okay.
I know what you're trying to develop, but.
We're kind of go to number 1 again.
Yes, Bubba. What do you think about the golf course, and how does it set up you being one of the bombers out here? And they've always said it's a good long hitter's course.
I don't know who said that, but no, it's one of those golf courses where you're going to have a lot of ball placement. So whatever that club is, it won't be driver. It'll be a lot of irons, a lot of woods off the tees. We're all going to place it pretty much the same area and try to attack from there. It's the second shot is where you would try to attack and you have a birdie opportunity. It's not going to be the way this rough is kind of mown towards you or cut towards you. You've got to hit the fairways, and so even if you're a long way away, but in the fairway, that's better off than being in the rough way down there. And so I think both teams, a lot of irons, a lot of woods off the tee, hybrids, whatever you want to call it, off the tees, trying to get in position.
Karen, number 3.
Since you mentioned crying, you've been known to shed a tear or two, but Tiger's been known as a pretty stoic person.
Really?
You know him as well as anyone. What was it like for you to see his display of emotion on Sunday on that 18th hole?
Oh, it was amazing to see. He's worked hard. He's a legend. Even if he would have never came back, he's a legend. Great for the game. Still grows the game. Even if when he wasn't playing, we still talked about him how much he was doing for the game. And so, knowing what he wanted to do just for himself. It's not about any of us sitting here today. It's just for himself. And like he said, it's a miracle that he's able to play and play at a high level and play with the speed and energy that he has. So I would have been more upset if he didn't show emotion, I'd have definitely texted him. I only get his number during team events. He blocks me during the regular part of the season because I send him dumb texts. But so it's always nice leading up to the event knowing that I'm on the team so I can get his number. But no, to see that emotion, it showed how passionate he is about the game of golf and what the game of golf means to him. And like he said, even if he didn't win, it's been an amazing year. And then to top it off, you couldn't write a better story. You couldn't make a movie like that. It would be a fictional movie if you'd have said that he's going to come so close and then the last one of the year he's going to win. You'd be like, well, this movie's boring. But it's true. I mean, it's real life, and that's really what happened. And it's quite remarkable to see that. And I was glad to see the emotion because it just showed the human side of him and how much the game means to him.
I'm going to go to mic number 1 in the middle.
Bubba, on the spectrum of artists versus scientists, I would say you're more the artist. What do you make of Bryson DeChambeau and the more scientific approach to getting the ball around the golf course?
It's quite funny. I played with him today and played with him in a different light. Today is just shooting the breeze, practicing a golf course. So I got to talk to him differently than in competition, right? And so we actually, I know it's not going to sound right, but we actually go about it the same way. He's looking at something and looking at the numbers, trying to get the exact numbers, how to create a shot. He's very feel oriented. It's just he's talking about the numbers and he's looking at the numbers. I'm looking at the ground. I'm looking at the obstacles in front of me and attacking it that way. But what he said and the questions I was asking him makes 100% right. The things that we were discussing today, like putters and weight of putters and drivers and his team that was with him. I hit a couple drives and they wanted to get the numbers off of Flight Scope and so to get those numbers, and he confirmed some of my things that I've been doing for a long time and it was pretty neat, like the driver shaft. I've been using this driver shaft. True Temper makes it by Matrix. I think it came out in 2001 for the pros, so 2002 for the public. And I've been using it since 2002. Never changed. Color scheme has changed, but I've never changed the shaft itself. And so he confirmed it on the Flight Scope, his system that he uses. And he said, this shaft is perfect for you. I said, well, yeah. Won a couple tournaments with it. But no, it was just, he uses a lot bigger words than I would use. I shorten it up. Gets me in trouble sometimes with media. But so it was interesting to see how he goes and attacks it and the way I attack it. It gets to the same point. It's just he uses a lot bigger words than me. But it's pretty impressive to listen and understand it because I couldn't tell you the definitions of any of these words he was using. But so I tell him to do it to my level, and then we work it out. But it's pretty remarkable to see how he goes about it. But he's a feel player. He just feels to numbers, and I feel to a look. Yep.
Bubba, thank you very much. Have a great week.
Y'all. Yep.
Cheers.
Thanks.
E for everyone. Jordan Spieth.
You might use short words, but you use a lot of them. And I'm even saying that.
Jordan, thank you for joining us.
Did you? Did you? Okay, I didn't know that. That was before I was born, bro. Oh, okay. Perfect. Yeah, congrats.
Thank you, Bubba. And thank you, Jordan, for joining us. You're coming back to defend the title that you won 2 years ago. But just how different is an away Ryder Cup experience?
Very. Yeah, very different. I love 2014. I thought the most probably fun, nerve-wracking shot I've ever hit was the first tee shot in 2014. Actually, it's one of the coolest moments of my golf career was getting started there and playing an away game, but representing your country in the Ryder Cup. I mean, that's growing up as a golfer. That's an ultimate goal for us, and it hasn't disappointed. If anything, it's been underappreciated by players. Not underappreciated, but understated by players ahead of ahead of the tournament. So it lives up and past its hype.
Great, and you were here in July. Obviously, you saw the course. Obviously, looks a little bit different at the moment. So, what changes are out there on the golf course, and how's it shaping up?
Yeah, the rough. I mean, we were able to play out of the rough in July, and if you miss the fairway, you're likely not going to be able to hold the green. And with a lot of greens surrounded by water, you're actually having to really kind of almost lay up out of the rough. So, tee balls are key here.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Jordan. We're going to open up to the floor, and we'll begin with number 3. If you could come around to the middle row here, please.
Jordan, you talk about that first tee shot at Glen Eagles. How far ahead of time do you start thinking about that shot?
Well, I don't think of it the same way anymore. I mean, that was the first one on away, and it happened to be away soil. The first tee shot at Hazeltine. How am I doing? First tee shot at Hazeltine felt different. It was a different experience. I'm sure this will be closer to that one, just knowing that we'll hear the Europe chants and the Ole Ole chants on the driving range at whenever we're teeing off, an hour ahead of time. And this tee shot's as difficult a first tee shot as we've probably played the entire season. So that adds to it. But it won't be till kind of that morning that you'll be thinking of the first tee ball. And you got a partner with you this time. It's not foursomes. So, and it'll be really cold, so I could probably hit driver, which is a good thing. Bigger head, better.
Going to go to number 1 over here on the right.
Jordan, obviously you can't be held responsible for this given your age, but 25 years since the US won on this side of the Atlantic, I mean, you're a pretty clear and strong analyst. Can you come up with a reason, if there is just one reason, as to why that long gap and long wait might have happened?
I would put it simply that they won more holes, they made more putts. I mean, seriously, as far as our team's concerned, there's only a couple guys that have any kind of scar tissue on playing on away soil, and those guys have won a combined 120-something times and account for 20 majors. I mean, we're not worried about the two older guys on the team that have scar tissue. The rest of us are simply here because and looking at this week as an opportunity for us to show that the golfers from the United States can beat the golfers from Europe, and we can do it over here. That's the goal. I've won one and lost one, so whether it's here or there, the point is whoever makes more putts, whoever shoots lower scores typically wins these matches, and our team is extremely solid and have been playing very well. And so if we stay out of our own way and continue to play the way that our team's been playing, we believe that that'll be good enough and take care of itself. And no other thought is anywhere else.
Number 3, right hip.
I'm sorry? No, I don't think so. I'm speaking from my own point of view, but it's one of the more difficult golf courses that we'll play all year. So it'll play very different from Hazeltine, but and a bit different from Glen Eagles, but nothing that is totally unusual for us to see. And the crowds, they're going to be very European, and anything that gets to you, you're in control of anyways. So, again, goes back to we stay in our own lane, and we focus on the stuff that we keep talking about in the team room, and we're going to get out and put ourselves in a mental opportunity for the games to take care of the rest.
I'm going to go to number 3 in the front here.
Hey, Jordan. What do you recall about being a rookie and for your first time doing this in 14? And Europe has 5. You've got a couple, 3. Is that an advantage, disadvantage to have more rookies? And what do you remember about just the experience, and what advice do you have for the young guys or for the other guys?
I don't think it means much. I don't think that it's any kind of a disadvantage at all. If anything, it could be an advantage. Guys that are even more excited to get out and kind of see what it's like and get that excited, be paired with somebody. I don't know how much team golf with a partner that Bryson or Tony has played. I know obviously Justin with last year and some Walker Cups, and Bryson's done the same. But just having that guy next to you rooting for you, and being in the team room, looking at these guys to your right and your left, and understanding that they're on your side this week for a common goal. I think if anything, it can be advantageous to be a rookie. So I don't think there's any disadvantage at all. Again, these are guys that have either won majors or had chances to win at the highest level, or certainly have won at the highest level. I don't think a little extra noise cheering for the other side will tone down their ability to be able to perform. And therefore, I don't see, based on my experience from 2014 being paired with another rookie, it seemed to light a fire for us. Once we got out there and loved kind of the way that camaraderie worked out, we were able to roll.
We're going to go 2 at the very back.
Jordan, who's behind the business of the Bubba glove? And can you just flesh out any other unusual requirements you guys have today?
I don't even know anything about it. He just was in the locker room and said, I think I'm going to wear my glove in media. Is there something else?
He said he was told.
He was. He may have been. I don't know. Anything else unusual?
Yeah.
Not particularly.
You've been given special words to use in the press conferences.
I don't think so.
No? Maybe you're not on message.
My agent's not even in Europe, so I've got nobody in my ear.
Okay, we're going to go to
I had
number...
Zach Johnson in my ear. That's about it.
We're going to go to 4 in the middle, just in the back.
Jordan, you didn't want an extra week off, but you had it, and I'm wondering how you took advantage of that. Did you rest a little more? Were there certain things that you worked on or thought about leading up to this week?
Yeah, I took the in-between week off completely, and then I took the Tour Championship week to slowly kind of progress each day, do a little bit more, and I was progressing nicely through the playoffs. My game was in the best state that it had been in until BMW, and I kind of just ran out of gas there. I should have taken more breaks in the playoffs this year, and I went something like 26 to 28 days straight from before New York through that Saturday afternoon of BMW of at least 6-hour days on the course and gym, and I got real quick with the swing and just didn't play well at BMW, but I was able to get that rest, look back on the progression that was being made, and continue that going forward. So I think I don't wish that it happened, considering it's the end of the season. If it were the middle of the season, I would look at it as a blessing in disguise. But I certainly wish that I was there at East Lake, no question, and that, if anything, will make me not take that week for granted, and to work that much harder to never miss it again.
Mike 1, Karen.
Jordan, when it comes to facing that 6,000 plus crowd at the first tee here, how much, if at all, will it help having played the 16th hole at the Phoenix Open a few times? Is there any kind of correlation in getting comfortable with that environment?
I think there is, but just in the walk to the tee, because the 16th in Phoenix, you see that stadium the entire way. When we get on the tee box on the first hole here, you're almost in a little kind of U-shaped ditch that's been dug into that hill. And the grandstand's actually pretty far removed from the first tee. So certainly it'll be loud because of the amount of people there, but you won't see it at all. You'll see the first tee shot the same way you always see it. Versus Phoenix, if you went there right now versus when the tournament's there, it's a completely different golf hole. So there's only a small little grandstand, I think, off the left side of the first tee. And so compared to Glen Eagles and Hazeltine, I think it'll feel like more open space, to be honest.
Going to go to 2 over on the right-hand side.
Jordan, whether it was highlights or whether you watched it live, what did you make of the scene on Sunday with Tiger winning, and did it affect you emotionally at all?
I thought it was a matter of time, the way he's been playing. He's been playing at a level that can win any golf tournament for the majority of the summer. So he went to a place he's won a couple other times and really got his putter rolling. And you could see when he's starting to walk those putts inside 10 feet, that kind of like Tiger step that we all, I guess, naturally try and copy growing up. When you start seeing that, you understand that confidence is there on the greens, and that's all it was missing, was just that that week where he was top 3 or whatever in strokes gained putting. He's been chipping the ball really well, and his striking's been awesome. So the scene coming up the 18th was pretty amazing. I mean, having been in a, I guess, situation similar, and it wasn't anything like that when I was walking up the 18th hole. You see what you already knew, which is that he moves the needle, and you saw the reaction from not only golf fans anywhere, but also your average sports fan and your other athletes and other media outlets. I mean, it's different. I was nervous for them when the fairway started to collapse around he and Rory, because you got guys on a Sunday afternoon, boozed up, when it's hot out, just running, wanting to. And now when you get the phones out and everything, it just seemed like a lot. I'm glad that they were able to sneak through everybody and get to that green, but it was a pretty incredible scene.
Okay, we're going to have 2 more questions. We're going to go for number 4 at the back first.
George, just to follow up on Tiger, I mean, he looks to be enjoying himself during the practice rounds out there. How much is he enjoying being part of this team? And although this is obviously a team event, how good is it for you guys to have him back at his best?
Yeah, I think even he would tell you he's not necessarily at his best he's ever been, but just back in form, good enough to win, which it's kind of scary that it's not even his best. Still winning golf tournaments, but it seems somewhat normal. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think everybody's been enjoying themselves a lot. It hasn't seemed any different from other rounds that we've played, but knowing that he's on your side when you tee it up, and he's hitting the ball as well as he is, and then the intimidation factor that he can bring to it is certainly, I would say, measurable off of not necessarily his team Ryder Cup experience, but when you look at players that have played in his group when he's playing well, when he's kind of, it's a different bottom line than his score. So you ought to think that, you get him in the right setting out here in a team atmosphere and playing well, that'll make a difference.
Okay, we're going to go Doug number 3 on the left.
Can winning an event as part of a team make it feel like a successful year for you as an individual?
Yeah, I think if I came out and played really solid golf this week, I would feel like I accomplished a lot this year. I'd feel like I went to places where I needed to build back up and learn a lot from my own game. And a Ryder Cup is a situation where you're playing almost every hole with the same feels you get on a major championship Sunday in contention. And so to be able to put those to test And if I can do so successfully, I'll feel like I've gained a lot out of it. And the years after I've played in Ryder Cups have been phenomenal years for me. And so I look at this week as very important going forward for next season.
Okay, we have time for one more. We'll finish on number one.
Joe, we think of the last Ryder Cup, and the memories on Sunday are eagles and birdies and roars everywhere. You're playing this week at a place that's set up very difficult. As a competitor, does it seem odd at all to stage a Ryder Cup on a place with a tough setup?
Yeah, I don't think you'll go anywhere else where you see as many fist-pumped pars as you'll see this week. I think, especially in the afternoons in these foursomes when the wind picks up. We played it with windy yesterday, and it was, I mean, we were playing best ball, and there weren't that many birdies out there outside the par fives. It'll be, I don't think there will be as many roars. There will be you'll know who won holes when holes are won, but there were a lot of putts made at Hazeltine, which, from any range, 6 to 30 feet, that was really exciting. But this is a unique and exciting test in itself for us players. It may not be as exciting for the fans that are there watching. Obviously, if their side's winning, then they're going to be as excited. But you know what I mean, like the loud roars off of made putts. You just won't see that many birdie opportunities as we saw at Hazeltine, just because if you miss the fairway, you're fighting for par.
Jordan, thank you very much. Have a great week.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers.
Absolutely.
Yeah, have a good one.